Ryzen 5 7500F, Ryzen 5 7600X, and Ryzen 5 9600X remain the price to performance champions for 1440p mid-range gaming PC builds in 2026. But what's the right CPU and GPU combo, motherboard, and RAM for your Ryzen 5 gaming PC build? Welcome back to PC Builder, I'm Jason. This 2026 best Ryzen 5 gaming PC build guide, we're going to cover everything you need for the best Ryzen 7500F, 7600X or 9600X gaming PC build, including the best graphics card for the Ryzen 5 7600X and 9600X, best RAM for Ryzen 5, best motherboard, and more. And we'll give you specific build templates for both a maximum value Ryzen 5 7600X PC build and a premium Ryzen 9600X gaming PC build. If you get value out of this video, please give it a like, of course subscribe for more cool PC content. Let's jump into it. This video is sponsored by VIP SCD Key. Say goodbye to crazy expensive Windows licenses and that terrible Activate Windows watermark. Right now, use the links in the video description, head over to VIP SCD Key and get a Windows 11 OEM license for a great price. Pick your product license, then use the PC Builder discount code PC25 for an additional 30% off. Go to the activation settings on your PC, put in the code, and boom! Windows is fully licensed for a crazy low price, and they have Microsoft Office licenses too. Use the links in the video description. So how much performance difference is there between the Ryzen 5 CPUs on the AM5 platform? Well, TechSpot tested the available Ryzen 5 AM5 CPUs with an RTX 5090 across 12 games at medium and high details, and I'll link their full comparison article in the video description. But the main takeaway here, at higher details at 1080p or higher resolutions like 1440p, or with a more mid-range GPU like an RX 9060 XE 16GB or RTX 5070, these CPUs essentially perform the same. You should avoid the Ryzen 5 8400F. It has limited GPU PCIe connectivity, which is bad for a gaming PC, and also avoid the Ryzen 7400F. It uses thermal paste under the CPU lid instead of solder. That's really weird, and it makes it run crazy hot. My advice, just go for the cheapest of the Ryzen 5 7500F, 7600X, or 9600X. And if after getting your GPU you still have some money left over, then you can upgrade the CPU. Now in the US, the 7600X, it usually is only about $20 more than the 7500F and has wider availability, so I typically default to the Ryzen 7600X. Sometimes the 9600X is actually cheaper than the 7600X, and it's often only about $10 to $20 more, so that is a great place to spend a little extra money if you have it. Of course, if you want even more performance, you can consider the Ryzen 5 7600X 3D or Ryzen 5 7500X 3D, which are generally about 10% faster with a high-end GPU, like an RTX 5090 at 1080p, and we have a dedicated build guide for those specific CPUs that I'm going to link down in the video description. So what's the best graphics card for the Ryzen 7600X or Ryzen 5 9600X in 2026? Remember, we get the most FPS in a gaming PC build when we get the fastest graphics card that we can afford, then just get a CPU that won't overly bottleneck it. Now, we go through this in detail in our best CPU and GPU combo 2026 video, so you can check that out for a deeper dive as to why. The Ryzen 5 CPUs are a great choice for mid-range GPUs that would otherwise be bottlenecked on a more budget tier CPU like a Ryzen 5600X or Ryzen 5500. The lowest GPU I would recommend with them is the Arc B570 10GB GPU or the RX 9060 XT 8GB. On the NVIDIA side, I'd go RTX 5060 8GB. But those are pretty low end, and for about a $1,250 build, you can easily get an RX 9060 XT 16GB GPU, which generally run about $450 in the US, possibly an RTX 5060 Ti 16GB GPU, which can run about $70 more. From here, the Ryzen 5 CPUs pair really well with mid-range to upper mid-range graphics cards like the RX 9070 16GB, the RTX 5070 12GB that we used in our build, the RX 9070 XT 16GB, and the RTX 5070 Ti 16GB. You could go all the way to an RTX 5080, but this is definitely the area that we want to see some additional improvement by going with maybe an X3D CPU like the Ryzen 5 7600X 3D or Ryzen 7 7800X 3D, which right now we're selling for between $250 and $360. The key here is invest in the GPU first, then if you have some money left over, increase that CPU. And with future upgradability, you will be able to do a drop-in upgrade with a future Zen 6 or possibly Zen 7 CPU. In our build, we went with the 2-fan MSI RTX 5070 12GB Shadow model. So what's the best RAM for the Ryzen 5 7600X or Ryzen 5 9600X in 2026? Well, as I film this, DDR5 RAM prices, they are still very high due to insane AI data center demand. But RAM prices have come down a little bit from the beginning of this year, which is welcome news. Of course, prices remain high at the time of filming. with a 16GB kit costing about $230 in the US on average. Sometimes you can find them down to $200. And a 32GB kit costing about $370 on average in the US, although you can sometimes find them down to about $325. Many retailers are offering RAM combo deals, where they're able to discount other components steeply, like motherboards and CPUs, coolers, and other things to help offset the RAM prices. Now, you can find these in the US in-store at a Micro Center or online at Newegg, which offers a ton of combo deals, many of which feature the Ryzen 5 CPUs like the 7600X and 9600X. For instance, this Newegg RAM combo deal offers a Ryzen 5 7600X CPU, a good value B650 motherboard with Wi-Fi, and a 16GB kit of DDR5 6000CL38 RGB RAM for $435, along with some other items. Now, if we just take the value of the CPU at $180, which is what you can buy it on Amazon for, and $130 for the motherboard, which is fair market value, that makes the RAM about $125, which is a huge savings. I've linked the Newegg DDR5 RAM combo deals down in the video description for you to check out. I've also got a spreadsheet of global retailers offering similar RAM combo deals for you to check out. If you can get a combo deal, that would be my recommendation to save money. So what RAM speed do you need for your AM5 Ryzen 5 CPU? Well, testing of Ryzen AM5 non-X3D CPUs has shown that while DDR5 6000CL30 is the sweet spot for performance, slower RAM like DDR5 5600CL40 only reduces performance by single-digit percentages, even with an RTX 5090 at 1080p. And moving down in GPU performance or up to a higher resolution like 1440p reduces that performance difference quite a bit. If you're confused on how RAM speeds and cache latency work, then check out our Best RAM for Gaming 2026 video where we cover this topic in more detail. My advice here, just get a DDR5 5600CL40 or faster RAM kit if you can, and don't overspend on more expensive memory. We want a 2-stick kit to maximize performance. Remember, 1 stick hurts FPS, 4 sticks does not work well with DDR5 memory controllers at the speeds that we want to run. Of course, in order to get the full rated speed of the RAM, you will need to jump into the BIOS and enable either the XMP or Expo one-click auto overclocking profiles. All AM5 motherboards that I've seen will use either Expo or XMP timings, and there's no performance difference between them, so feel free to get either one. Let's talk about the best motherboard for the Ryzen 5 7600X or Ryzen 5 9600X in 2026. You can of course check out our best Ryzen Motherboard 2026 video for a full range of options. Now, a lot of RAM combo deals are coming with motherboards, and most AM5 motherboards are completely fine for a Ryzen 5 CPU. But if you're buying your own motherboard, what should you look for? A620 and B840 motherboards, they don't allow the use of AMD's auto overclocking feature called Precision Boost Overdrive, or PBO for short. Now, I do recommend turning on PBO in the BIOS. We show you how to do this in our PC setup guide. This is going to give you anywhere from 1 to 3% of additional performance, essentially for free. For usually just a couple dollars more than the A620 and B840 motherboards, you can usually get a B650, B650E, or B850 motherboard, which do allow for the PBO feature, so I lean towards at least moving up to one of them if you can. Now, the other difference here is the speed of the GPU PCIe slot. All X870 and X870E, along with all B650 and most of the B850 motherboards, have a PCIe Gen 5 GPU slot. It's still doubtful whether this will ever be a useful feature, as even an RTX 5090 runs just fine on PCIe Gen 4, but if you can get it for free, my advice is probably take it. Of course, if you find a deal on a B650 motherboard, and at the time of filming I'm seeing a lot of them, that's just as good in my opinion. Now, prices have dropped a lot since the start of 2026. Value picks start at around $100 in the US and include basic audio, 2 to 3 M.2 slots, decent but not amazing VRMs, and solid but not amazing rear panel USB connectivity. The ASRock B850 M-X is a great budget AM5 motherboard with 4 high-speed USB ports, including a Type-C, and 2 USB 2.0 ports, 2 M.2 NVMe SSD slots, and it's got nice black styling for $100, with a currently overpriced Wi-Fi version at $130, which is also what we used in our build. Some great B650 values include the ASUS TUF B650 Plus for just $110, with premium features like upgraded audio, 3 full bandwidth M.2 slots. MSI's got their B650 Pro lineup of micro ATX and ATX size motherboards starting around $115 to $130, which include Wi-Fi and a ton of rear panel USB connectivity. Gigabyte's B650M Gaming Plus Wi-Fi, it's a decently featured motherboard that can often be found for around $110. Now, at some point, these cheaper B650 boards will likely sell out. Moving up, you'll find tons of great options around $130, including Wi-Fi, like the Gigabyte B850M Eagle Wi-Fi with 4 high-speed USB ports, including a Type-C, and 4 USB 2.0 ports. a built-in rear I/O shield, and decent VRMs with 2 M.2 SSD slots for about $130. For $10 to $20 more, you can get the Gigabyte B850M Gaming X with a slightly better VRM and a more gamery styling. ASRock has a number of motherboards like the B850M Pro-A with good features, and its new Challenger refresh with Wi-Fi, a built-in rear I/O shield, 6 high-speed USB ports, and 2 USB 2.0 ports, along with nice black styling, and 2 M.2 NVMe SSDs for $130. MSI has their Pro B850M-P with similar specs for $148, but at this price, we're already bumping into better mid-range and even premium motherboards. Moving over to mid-range, which is often outmatched by huge deals on more premium motherboards, so double check those before you buy one. There are often deals on good mid-range motherboards like the MSI B850 Gaming Plus Wi-Fi, which is on sale right now for around $130, and it comes with similar features to the micro-ATX B850M-P, but adds a third M.2 NVMe SSD slot. ASRock's B850 Pro-A is another great motherboard with 4 M.2 SSD slots, though one of them is half bandwidth, along with 6 high-speed USB ports and 6 USB 2.0 ports, tons of connectivity for about $140. The Asus B850 and B650E Max Gaming Wi-Fi motherboards are also fine, but with weaker features, and they usually sell for around $140 to $160. For premium motherboards, now we're looking for 3 full bandwidth M.2 drives with at least 2 having heat spreaders. We want a built-in rear I/O shield with good USB connectivity, upgraded audio to either ALC 1200, ALC 1220, or ALC 4080, strong VRMs, and of course, we want it to look amazing. Pricing for these motherboards has been as low as $140 to $160 this year, though right now most are sitting closer to $170 to $200, and that's quite pricey for a Ryzen 5 CPU, so just consider that before you buy. Now, my current top pick is the ASRock B850 Live Mixer with an insane amount of USB connectivity, 6 high-speed USB ports including a Type-C, 8 USB 2.0 ports, really nice styling, Wi-Fi, upgraded audio, and costs just $145 at the time of filming. I'll leave some other premium motherboards linked down in the video description for you to check out. Alright, so what's the best CPU cooler for your Ryzen 5 7600X or 9600 CPU? Well, for any of the Ryzen 5 CPUs that we're looking at here, that's the Ryzen 7500F, 7600, 7600X, 9600X, we want to make sure that we're going to enable Precision Boost Overdrive in the BIOS to get the best performance. Now that's going to require at least a budget tower air cooler for between $20 and $40. Anything from any of the mini Thermalright Assassin coolers for right around $20, the id Cooling SE214 XT lineup, including the new V2 coolers with a sleeker look, to the Cooler Master Hyper 212 or Halo versions. In our build, we used the Cooler Master Hyper 212 Pro for just $18. It's quite a premium product with sleeved cables, good assembly, and looks striking. Now, these tower air coolers are more than enough with any proper airflow, particularly for mostly gaming where the CPU temps aren't going to get that hot. If you do want to go bigger, of course you can. The Thermalright Peerless Assassin, the id Cooling A620 Pro SE, or the Cooler Master Hyper 620S are great dual tower air coolers that will easily handle these CPUs. I think those coolers all look great, but if you want to go with a liquid AIO, I'd recommend a 240mm budget one, and there are plenty available now for as little as $45, like the Thermalright Aqua Elite V6, the Cooler Master Master Liquid V240L for $50, or the Sama L70 for just $42. I'll leave links to those coolers and some other suggestions down in the video description. All right, let's talk about another area gamers massively overspend on, and that is the best SSD for the Ryzen 5 7600X or Ryzen 5 9600X. If you haven't had a chance to watch our best SSD for gaming 2026 video, it is linked down in the video description under our How to Build a PC playlist if you want a deeper dive. SSD storage, it's the other pain point in 2026, with prices having come up from about $60 per terabyte late last year to about $140 per terabyte at the time of filming and going up. My advice here is to double down on not overspending. While a drive with a DRAM cache is nice when regularly doing very large file writes, most gamers, they just don't do this very often. So my advice, just get the storage that you need, and a DRAMless PCIe Gen 3 or Gen 4 NVMe SSD can be picked up for about $150 depending on your market, like the Patriot P400 Lite. Now note, there is a sizable discount on a per terabyte basis for getting a 2 terabyte drive over a 1 terabyte drive, and again an additional savings on a per terabyte basis for a 4 terabyte drive over 2 terabyte drives. So if you need that much storage, get a single high capacity drive rather than separate drives. I'm going to leave some good value drives linked down in the video description. All right, let's talk about the best PC case for your Ryzen 5 PC build in 2026, because like a lot of other components, PC cases have seen big price cuts. And that's great because while we want good airflow, we don't want to overspend, and we do want it to look amazing. Ideally, we'd like at least 2 intake and 1 exhaust fan, though more airflow, it's always better. Most cases today come in either black or white options, so you can customize your build. Great budget options can be had for as little as about $50. Starting with micro ATX case options like the Phanteks XT-M3 with 2 intake and 1 exhaust fan, all of them ARGB. Other great options for under $60 include the Okono Cypress 3 in ARGB or wood non-RGB versions, the Thermaltake TG170 micro ATX PC case with 3 included ARGB fans, or the Okonos Aqua 3 for $57. We went with one of my new favorite PC cases in the Lee V100R Mini. This is the micro ATX version of the same V100R PC case that we used in our Ryzen 9850X3D build guide this year. Now, it's basically a slightly smaller version of the ATX case, but it does include some incredible features for just $64, including 4 ARGB fans, 3 of which are reverse blade intake, and it looks absolutely amazing. If you go with an ATX motherboard, the ATX version of this case, the Lee V100R in either black or white for just $75, has been my go-to in 2026. The Montech XR for $70 is also good value if you can't find the Lee case, and we've used it in previous builds with 3 included ARGB fans, including 2 reverse blade intake fans. If you want a front intake PC case, I love the Montech XR Wood for a cheap mid-range option with 4 included ARGB fans at about $70. All right, let's talk about getting the right power supply or PSU for your Ryzen 5 9600X or 7600X gaming PC build. Now, if you haven't seen our How to Buy a PSU 2026 guide, we cover how to size and buy the best unit for your build based on unit quality rather than the really stupid 80+ ratings. I'll leave it linked down in the video description. Basically, I take the rated power draw and PC part picker of all the components, and I multiply that by 1.5 to get the minimum wattage. Because the Ryzen 5 CPUs are so power efficient, many builds are not going to require more than 550 to 750 watts using this formula. For more value-focused builds, I think a unit rated in the C tier on the SPL PSU tier list, it's probably fine, like the Roswell VSB 650 watt for $50 that we used in our build. But if you can, then I'd spend just a bit more on a B tier or A tier rated units like the Roswell VMG 750 watt or the Sama GT 750 watt or similar PSU. So how much should your Ryzen 5 7600X or 9600X gaming PC build cost? Well, I put together 2 build templates to get you started. Now, the first one's going to be a best value build that uses the Ryzen 7600X with a budget tower air cooler, a value-focused B850 micro ATX size motherboard, a lower price 16GB 2-stick DDR5 RAM kit without RGB, a 1TB budget NVMe SSD, a value micro ATX PC case, and the cheapest current 600 watt or better C-tier rated PSU. Not including the GPU, that build comes in right around $775 US. If we use a Newegg combo kit with a B650 micro ATX motherboard with Wi-Fi, a 16GB kit of DDR5 RAM with RGB, and the Ryzen 7600X, along with some other free items like a gaming mouse, that total gets reduced to just over $700 US. It's about a 10% savings overall, which is why I recommend getting a combo deal if you can. For a more premium build that doesn't stray too far from value, I swapped in the Ryzen 9600X, currently sells for about $10 to $20 more than the 7600X. I've changed out the cooler to a reasonably priced 240mm AIO liquid cooler with RGB. I upgraded the motherboard to an ATX size mid-range model. I went with RGB on the RAM at the same speed. I went with the same SSD, added in an ATX size Atrium style case, and I upped the PSU to the cheapest 750 watt or higher unit that's at least B tier rated. The upgraded build without the GPU comes in right around $940. Now obviously you can spend more if you want, but those templates should get you started, and I'm going to leave both of them linked down in the video description for you to check out along with alternative parts. Everything is linked down in the video description, including both of those build lists and the Newegg RAM combo deals, along with the global RAM combo deal list. So check those out, including our How to Build a PC playlist. That includes our guide on how to actually build a PC and set up your PC after you build so it looks like this. If you got value out of this video, please give a like and of course subscribe for more cool PC content. And we'll catch you on the next one.